Today I'll be discussing the wage gap. This is probably one of the most hotly debated subjects in American culture. Um, I'm going to take a crack at it and look at the numbers and try to find the truth behind all of this. This assertion is true. Women who work full-time only earn 82% what the average male who works full-time does. And this is according to the U.S. government's official numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. On average, the average woman who worked full-time earned $749 when compared to her male colleagues earning $915. The charts included are taken straight from the BLS website and show where I'm getting my numbers, as well as how the trends change as we age. According to all the numbers I could find, women in theory should earn more than their male colleagues. They earn more degrees than men numerically, and they earn an even larger number of advanced degrees in today's society. But why the pay discrepancy? So there I hear the men being chauvinist, stating that it's because men work harder and better. Well, according to a study shared on the BBC, actually, women multitask better. Additionally, according to the latest studies, the old excuse of, well, women just ask for less pay raises, so they receive less. Well, that's also been debunked. Women ask for more pay raises at a greater rate than their male counterparts, but are denied in greater numbers. Well, they don't deserve the promotion because men work harder, I hear the chauvinists say. Well, according to numerous studies, women do more work than average, and that this holds them back in promoting because they are far more likely to take non-promoting tasks such as planning office parties and other tasks that take their time but don't make management consider them for leadership positions.
No, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So let's recap. Men are less educated, they don't work as hard, and yet they make just short of 20% more than females. I have to ask myself, but why? So while thinking about this, I had to ask myself some questions that may explain these discrepancies. What does it mean for one to be employed full-time? Someone who is full-time is anyone who works greater than 35 hours per week and is over the ages of 16. After reading that, I asked myself, do women who work full-time work as many hours as their male counterparts? According to the BLS, women who work full-time spend an average of 7.6 hours per day, while the men who work full-time average a total of 8.66 hours worked per day. That means while fulfilling the initial criteria of full-time, men work an average of 11.43% more hours per day for pay than their female colleagues. You may ask why I said for pay. That is because if we look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers on how much work men and women do in their daily lives versus the leisure time, women actually work more hours per day than men. Men spend an average of 5.7 hours a day in doing leisure activities compared to the woman's average of 5.21. But if men work more, how can they possibly have the time to play more, you may ask? Well, that's because all of the outside tasks we do as adults, such as caring for family, grocery shopping, volunteer work, or other civic duties, women spend more time on this than the average man. But it is not included in the time spent working, so it does not influence income. Let's look at another possible scenario. If we evaluate the hours of work of all individuals, including those who only work part-time, the numbers shift slightly, with men working an average of 8.1 hours per day to the women's 7.3 hours per day, or approximately 9.88% more than their female counterparts when we include those who work part-time. So, if we look at men and women's full-time, the numbers sort out like this. Men work an average of 7.4% more hours than their female counterparts for a total of 58.8 hours per week, with the average woman working 54.6 hours per week. At that many hours, we have to take overtime into account. The government states that if you work more than 40 hours per week, you must be paid at a rate of not less than 1.5 times the regular rate of pay. There is no limit on the number of hours employees age 16 and older may work in any work week. If we take the known amounts that the average man and woman work per day and turn them into work weeks, we can do the math. If we assume both parties make $10 per hour and work the average based on their gender demographics, it is as follows. Men work an average of 60.62 hours per week, bringing home $709.3 per week, and women work an average of 53.69 hours per week, bringing home $605.35, or about 14.65% less money than their male colleagues, while still fulfilling the initial criteria of working full-time. So, while women who work full-time only work 11.43% less hours per week, they earn an average of 14.65% less money while doing so when compared to their male counterparts. So, why are we assuming that men should be making the same? Shouldn't they be making less? They're less educated. Education is supposed to be amongst the biggest determining factors in how much you make, and as a matter of fact, it is. The fact of the matter is, men and women choose to go about college in completely different ways. Women actively choose the choice to make less money. We as a people know what degrees tend to earn more money, and the fact of the matter is, men who attend college are far more likely to choose degrees based solely on the monetary outcome than their female counterparts. So sure, more women are earning their doctorate in social working, but that doesn't pay what a doctorate in mechanical engineering does. That doesn't make the work less noble or less important to society, only less profitable. If your abilities don't generate revenue, you won't receive revenue. Working in the fields that women tend to choose, you are either A, easily replaced, or B, serving the disenfranchised who cannot afford to pay the premium that your degree would entail receiving. Okay, if those misogynist spewings didn't chase you away, now we can discuss the next major factor hurting women's income potential. Women are far more likely to leave the workforce for large periods of time than their male counterparts. This destroys not only their ability to progress, but it also stops them from developing as a worker. All that time they spend at home, they are not cultivating the skills and knowledge that would make an employer likely to promote you. In addition to that, you also miss out on any performance-related pay raises you may have received while doing your job over the years. How many women make this choice, you may ask? Well, if you look at that crucial number in the middle of the screen, in the middle columns, number of workers in the thousands. Men ages 16 and up are just short of 64 million working full-time when compared to the 52 million women working full-time. If we know that there are actually a greater number of women in the United States than men, with 51% being women and 49% being men, that means at least 14 million women, 19% fewer women than men work full-time. My next question out of curiosity is, do women tend to work part-time more than men? And the answer is yes. 9.8 million men work part-time compared to 17.4 million women choosing to work part-time. I'd argue that companies don't tend to promote those who are treating it as a part-time gig to levels of management. Usually companies will take you on part-time and offer you full-time from there. After that, they then offer you your promotion to your first real levels of management. When we look at this, we see that large portions of women's lives, they choose to work part-time. Many due to a perfectly valid reason, such as being a single mother, or because their income wouldn't justify sending the child to daycare, because you'd essentially be paying for the privilege to work and be away from your children. Men seldom make this choice. We virtually always choose career over family. Whether or not this is an ethical choice is up for debate, but what is not up for debate is that the expectation that women stay home to take care of kids is not ethical. I would argue that this is the primary thing that has created the wage gap, not the man trying to keep you down. In the end, there is a difference in men and women in how we think and get through lives collectively. What I ask from all the ladies is that you be honest about what you want from life with your partners, and if you want to be a CEO, realize tough choices will have to be made. You'll have to have your man stay at home or accept that someone else will be raising your kids while you chase your dreams. Or the final choice you'll have is to give up your childbearing years for your career. Men, I ask of you is much the same. Be honest about your expectations when dealing with potential life partners. Create an environment where any potential partners can tell you their goals from the very beginning of the relationship. Because if your goals aren't succinct, it would be better if you guys just parted ways. Relationships don't have to end in heartache if from day one you are both honest about what you want from life, and then it can be an amicable walking away. From the men of the world, I ask that you treat women with a sense of understanding, knowing that they have to make this critical decision very early in their life. They cannot choose to put children off until their 50s as a man may. They have to choose from the time they become an adult until about age 40 if they're going to have children. After that, that bus is passed. Their only choice from then can be adoption, which isn't the route that many of them wish to go. One last thing. If you see any flaws in my logic or things that I may have accidentally misinterpreted, please bring them to my attention so that I can improve and do better next time. Or if it's absolutely critical, update this video to more accurately reflect reality.